I just want to make one comment about just history in general. I studied history in college. No, I don't work in a museum, but I just study history. I just know history. That's how I think about things. And historically, many times, I've been to Jamestown. I've been to Civil War battlefields. Um, I've been to all kinds of historic sites in Washington D.C., um, New York, Michigan. All over the world. I've been to places in Amsterdam and Norway, um, Canada. All I want to say is that there's been, I think Mercedes. That was Porsche. Um, whether or not companies were around during World War II or not, or World War One, or the Civil War, or whenever. Um, I mean, I mean, how far back do you want to go? Because in my mind, it doesn't make a difference. In the sense, you know, I mean, what about Napoleon? I mean, what about all these other? It's just like, so I want to fix up my dad's Mercedes, which I may or may not be doing. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point right now, at this moment. I mean, I know what I'm going to be doing, but um, it's like whether or not you're a Michigan State or a Michigan fan, kind of. I mean, it just seems like, you know, my grandma. I drive a Ford truck because my grandma suggested it. She always drove Fords. I drove her Ford Taurus. I bought her Ford Taurus when I was in high school. Her brother was in the Pacific during World War II. So whether or not you own a 1920 Ford that happened before the war, or you own a Ford from after the war, your grandma, because your grandma started you off on Fords, and her brother's in World War II in the Pacific, which, if you know your history, the Axis. So whether or not it was Germany or Japan, it doesn't. If you're historically inclined to look at history, in the bigger picture, it doesn't make a difference. So, so my grandma was born before World War II. I drove a car because my first car was her old car. My first Ford's old car. So that's all I can say about that. My first Ford was a Ford Taurus that my grandma gave me, or bought from, I don't know, it was given from my grandma. And her brother was welder during World War II in the Pacific. So, you know,